Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So with my medical practice, I did not like middlemen. I would be doing my job the way I was trained, and then some salesperson would come into the office saying, we could do this for you. I'm like, are you a doctor? No. But we have a company that you could outsource and do all these things for, and then you pay us, these fees. Like, I could do that myself. Nice. Thank you for offering. I guess, outsourcing is a big deal, but I only make whatever money the insurance wants to pay me. And if Medicare is only giving me 12 cents for a flu shot and I'm taking a loss, or another insurance is only paying me $2.42, I don't really have a lot of wiggle room to pay you for me to get the same money. So thanks, but no thanks. And things were simpler in medicine and with pharmacies. You wanted a prescription, you walked in, the druggist or the pharmacist would be there. You would give them their prescription, or they would make suggestions for you. You bought the prescription and you left. And it was pennies on the dollar. Well, things have changed, and there's a lot of middlemen. And when people ask, Dr. Daliah, why are prescriptions so much more expensive in America? Because we let this happen. Now, one theory behind the ridiculous prices are the pharmacy benefit managers. Now, I don't have anything against pharmacy benefit managers. What they are middlemen. They work for pharmacies to help negotiate down the prices of drugs that they are going to sell. But we're being told that it's a crapshoot. Pharmacies that don't use them can offer cheaper prices. Pharmacies that do use them say they're offering cheaper prices. Well, apparently multiple states have been signing into law banning pharmacies from using these pharmacy benefit managers. I think we saw this happen in, there were a couple states. Now we're hearing from Arkansas. Arkansas is following suit. I just don't have the list of other states that this is happening in. But last month, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed a bill banning drug middlemen from holding permits on prescription drug sales in the state. Now, you would think people would be like, okay, so this is now going to allow pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens to do their own negotiating, leave the middlemen out of it. Patients pay less of a price. They're saying that's not what's going to happen. They say CVS might now have to close their pharmacies. I don't understand why. Your job as a pharmacy is to have the drugs, keep them safe, make sure they're not expired, fill the prescriptions, and guide patients when they ask you questions, and ensure they don't have side effects, and they don't have, they do a lot. I love our pharmacists. But if there's a bill banning using middlemen, then just don't use the middlemen. This new law goes into effect next January. It revokes permits for pharmacies affiliated with pharmacy benefit managers. Multiple states have scrutinized this, even the federal government. So CVS owns pharmacy benefits manager Caremark RX. They said they are looking at all available options to stay open and continue to serve Arkansans. But they say in 2026, CVS might have to close all of their 23 locations in Arkansas or change its business model. Now, I mean, why is it so difficult? You have the medications. You just like whenever a hospital system gets hacked, they're diverting patients. They can't function. Medical students are calling me saying, how do you do a sliding scale insulin again? I go, you aren't writing it out? I had to write it out. No, we hit a button. Why are we so dependent on the button and the middlemen? Whether pharmacy benefit managers are good or bad, if there's a change, you should still be able to function. The 3 largest pharmacy benefit managers in the country are owned by CVS, Cigna, and United Health Group. They manage 80% of prescription drug claims for all Americans. Remember, there was United's got hacked, I think. The software that manages prescription drug claims. Now, I understand doing things in-house like I did can be tedious. Sometimes you hire an outside biller, and so these benefit managers, they need to get their cut if they're, taking that workload off. But if that's adding extra cost, there's got to be a better way to do it. And I don't like the idea. I really can't stand how the system is. I was doing so much work for free. I don't mind from a charity standpoint, but you do work and you don't get paid. And the only way you get paid is if you fight and beg and ask and hound the insurance companies to finally pay what you're owed. It's ridiculous. The system is messed up. Yeah, maybe we need to change it. I know patients are not going to like this, where the patients pay up front and they get the reimbursement from the insurance company. The insurance company is going to be more likely to listen to the patient who can cancel their policy and not become customers than the doctor or the pharmacy. These insurance companies don't care if a doctor doesn't get paid. But if the patient doesn't get paid, they'll lose business. That might actually help keep doctors and pharmacies more afloat, where they get their money up front, and it is a reduced rate. But then the patients deal with the insurance company. It'd be really nice to even get the insurance companies out of it, where patients, pay the $25, whatever, and it's done. So, we'll see what happens with this. But when they're saying that these pharmacy benefit managers are hiking the costs and making these medications more expensive than the independent pharmacy, something has to be done. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on X or Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show. And on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So for years, we have been told prostate cancer is unlikely to kill you, that you are more likely to die of something else than prostate cancer, and that we should slow down on the screenings, reevaluate the screenings, and not panic about it because doctors are doing too much to patients and the risks are outweighing the benefits. Yet I had patients whose prostate cancer was, a little bit more aggressive, and we caught it early. And here we are with President Biden having an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has metastasized to the bones. And people are still kind of questioning, wait a second, I thought prostate cancer outlives you. Or you outlive the prostate cancer, or whatever the phrase is, because if it's not going to kill you, you'll die of something else. Well, O.J. Simpson died of prostate cancer. I think Bill Bixby, right? He was the one from The Incredible Hulk. Telly Savalas, the one who played Gunther on Friends, James Michael Taylor, I believe his name is. He died of prostate cancer. People are dying of prostate cancer. Now, Ben Stiller had prostate cancer, still alive. Ian McKellen, still alive. But prostate cancer kills. Frank Zappa died of it. Merv Griffin, I think, died of it. And so when you, Dennis Hopper, I believe, lost his battle with prostate cancer recently. And so even though, thank God, Robert De Niro's still alive and Rudy Giuliani's still alive and Ben Stiller, and that people are managing it, maybe we need to have a different narrative as it comes to prostate cancer. As I told you, cancer can be chaotic. You might think you have something slow growing or in remission, and then all of a sudden it shows up somewhere else. See, me, I was very humbled by how severe prostate cancer could be, because when I was an ER doc, somebody came in with severe neck pain. So I x-rayed it, and he had holes in his bone. And I'm like, something's not right. And we put him in C-spine precautions because it looked like his cervical spine was going to crumble. Well, after CT and after we did a little investigative work, he had prostate cancer that went to his cervical spine. Now, he was very upset that he got this diagnosis, understandable. And he's like, I don't want to be in C-spine precautions. Let me go. I walked in here. I could walk out. And the ER doctor I was working under said, no, you can't do that because you could sever your spinal cord. If you fracture your cervical spine, you could die. Let us ship you to Las Vegas. There's neurosurgeons there because I was working in Lake Havasu. So they could take care of you. But we're going to keep you comfortable. But do not move your neck. We're going to have you in C-spine precautions. So have the brace on, etc. Well, apparently he was upset. And when he got to the hospital, he decided to just rip it off. Well, he drops, severs his cervical spine, and he ends up dying. So I learned early on, you don't screw around with prostate cancer. Prostate cancer could take a healthy appearing person and cause them to die in a heartbeat. Not all prostate cancers. But we're having this conversation now because people are wondering, well, then what's going on with Joe Biden? Didn't he have a full physical? Didn't his doctors look at him and test his prostate? Aren't we still screening? So the screening recommendations are getting more and more conservative, not politically conservative, but more less open and liberal. Not that that's supposed to be equating necessarily to political ideology, but the American Cancer Society reports that about 300,000 new cases of prostate cancer will be diagnosed each year, and about 34,000, maybe 35,000 patients could die. In 2018, the USPSTF released their final recommendation saying that if you're 55 to 69 years old, to make an individual decision about whether to be screened after a conversation with your clinician. If you're over 70, the potential benefits do not outweigh the expected harms, and these men should not be routinely screened for prostate cancer. Now, the American Cancer Society is a little bit more, open to screening. They say age 50. Don't wait till 55. Age 50 for men who are at average risk and who are expected to live at least 10 more years. Age 45, if you're, and this is what I've been asking for years, if you're Black, African American, or if you have a first-degree relative with prostate cancer. Why? Because whatever slow-growing cancer you think somebody has based on Caucasian studies might not be equitable to those of different demographics and different races. So, Black men can have more aggressive colon cancer, can have more aggressive prostate cancer. We do need to understand that screening guidelines need to be more fluid. They want this American Cancer Society wants prostate cancer screening at age 40 for men at even higher risk. They could have a digital rectal exam. They could have a PSA done, prostate-specific antigen. And if after this discussion, a man is unable to decide if testing is right for him, the screening decision can be made by the healthcare provider, who should take into account the man's general health preferences and values. So they also suggest that men who choose to be tested and whose PSA is under 2.5 need to be retested every 2 years and should be done yearly if your PSA level is 2.5. If you're under 1, that's a really good sign. So I did it differently. The reason why we caught prostate cancer was aggressive ones is I would do a baseline screen for those who wanted it in their 40s. And then if it was over 1, I repeated it in a year. And if it jumped, then I sent them to a urologist to monitor that because their PSA might be rising. If the normal level goes up to 4 and they're going from 1 to 2.3 within a year, that's a pretty big jump. So I would refer them to a urologist and let the urologist have the discussion with the patient. But if O.J. Simpson died of prostate cancer, James Michael Tyler died of prostate cancer, Lloyd Austin, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is being treated for it. Silver Knights head coach had revealed he had prostate cancer. men are getting prostate cancer. And the numbers may be rising, and sadly, they might be found at a more aggressive rate because people aren't going to the doctor. They're not getting their yearly rectal exam. They're not getting their yearly exam. And so they're waiting until they have an issue. Or they're using telemedicine who can't check the prostate. You just can't check through a USB port. It doesn't happen. So in light of now President Biden, who, remember, their administration said he was healthy and could run another 4 years, now being leveled by metastatic prostate cancer to the bone, the average person watching all this is saying, well, if the Biden administration is truthful about this being a brand spanking new diagnosis, then maybe all we've learned about the slowness and methodical and lack of need of aggressive testing and screening might need to be reevaluated. So personally, I think he probably had it for a while. Whether they chose to disclose it or not, or whether the doctor didn't test him, I don't know. But obviously that doctor's going to be up on malpractice charges if he didn't test, or, because somebody with metastatic disease to the bone would have had back pain. We would have picked this up on scan. That's for another discussion, and we'll see what happens when, I think it's Dr. O'Connor who's going to be subpoenaed, I believe, by Congress to find out more information about what happened and what care the former president got. But prostate cancer is real. And so when I talk to patients who call online saying, yeah, I think my prostate's big, just give me medication. And when I say, but you need to be evaluated, they're like, no, because what? We don't do anything for prostate cancer anymore. Yes, we do. Why are people thinking that we don't do anything for prostate cancer anymore? Who's been telling that story, that lie? Well, it's because there were individuals where their prostate cancer was slow growing. They underwent a radical prostatectomy, had then sequela from that. And so we as doctors were urged to rethink being aggressive about prostate cancer if prostate cancer isn't aggressive. But men are living longer. So the idea that the average man isn't going to live past his 70s so you could blow it off, no, you can't blow it off. Aggressive prostate cancer is a cancer. So maybe the USPSTF needs to rethink, or doctors need to have their own conversations with the patients, which the USPSTF recommends. And maybe we do need to be not as nonchalant about prostate cancer. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, don't go away.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Sweet strawberry icing. You were strolling along in goodwill when just past that mid-century side table and denim jacket you spotted them, nestled in their display case. Miniature donut earrings. Oh, yes! Yes! Your favorite half-breakfast pastry, half-all-day dessert food, made into your favorite form of ear candy. Oh my. Those bejeweled sprinkles have satisfied some unknown hunger within you. Shh, do you smell that? That's the sugary scent of shopping success. For this is Goodwill. And with every item you buy, you fund local job training and more. So go forth. Bring home those donut earrings. And bring home so much good to your community. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So we have some breaking news. Daily Mail is reporting that a company at home, not IKEA. It says IKEA rival. IKEA is not closing. But at home, a company, which is a Texas-based home chain, with 200 stores nationwide, is preparing to file for Chapter 11 protection. These 200 stores nationwide is a home decor retailer. They reportedly missed a critical interest payment on May 15th, has until June 30th to chart a path forward, and they may include bankruptcy. Now, they are a competitor to Wayfair. They're, I believe, a competitor to IKEA. And, I sometimes like to talk about the economy, and I like to talk about these stores because I see how consumer trends are changing, whether it's through medicine, whether it's through, just my own trends or, what I see even in my own city. And I'm really wondering how a lot of these companies are staying afloat. So IKEA offers a lot of inexpensive options for furniture. It works really great if you're in an area where you're moving, you need to very quickly furnish your apartment, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you don't care if it breaks, you don't care if it, and I'm sure IKEA has some long-standing furniture. But these stores require tons of square footage. And if you're in Nevada, you need a lot of air conditioning. And with tons of square footage, that's high rent, high air conditioning, high utilities, high numbers of staff. And, I'm just wondering if these types of stores are going to start becoming obsolete. And now, furniture used to be, a value. And my family, who fled the Holocaust, left their furniture. They didn't want to. But furniture was expensive. You didn't just buy furniture. It was made, and you made that sucker work, and you fixed it, and you dovetailed whatever you had to, and nailed, and reinforced. But, furniture, especially good solid furniture, lasted. And our family that fled the Holocaust had to just leave everything. Start from scratch. They fled to Israel. Were able to get into Israel, work on a kibbutz to earn their keep, help farm, and they got then a place to live, and then they, ended up buying new furniture. The family that couldn't leave their home and their furniture and their belongings, thinking nothing would ever happen to them, they ended up being rounded up, carted off to a concentration camp and murdered. So furniture used to be, something of value and very heavy, very thick. In fact, we have some of my parents' or grandparents' furniture. Not very attractive. I like the more modern look. I'm not really into the woods type stuff. But things are changing. And people are using things that are a lot more portable, easy to move. If they move a lot, things they could leave, like bookshelves, etc. A lot of people aren't really into knickknacks. I don't have a lot of, I don't put pictures on bookshelves. I'll put them up on walls, or I'll put them on a digital frame, but I don't really necessarily use a bookshelf. I don't have collections except for my medical antiques. I don't, and so I don't really require a lot of furniture. I just need a good desk chair. I need a desk, and I could leave a desk if I ever have to. And then maybe I like a good lazy boy. But I usually work while watching TV, so I don't even sit in the lazy boy. But when you see what's happening, because you're hearing, these stores, because of tariffs, have to close down. Really, tariffs? I'm looking at what Trump is doing as it pertains to tariffs, as it's about flipping time. America is tired of getting screwed over. Why are we paying more than anybody else? Why is Vietnam charging us 90% tariffs and nobody else? So bring those tariffs down, or we'll tariff you. I mean, it's makes common sense. And it looks like these companies are trying to work with, the UK is working with America. Japan wants to work with America. China may even. The EU is now in talks with America. And so, this is stuff that kind of has to be. But everybody's like, oh, no, it's going to make all these companies, you're hearing the media act like the world is coming to an end because of the tariffs. And there's this big tariff war. And I've said this before. I just don't understand when it came to climate change and electric vehicles and the ridiculous price people had to pay for electric vehicles, not to mention electricity. And then for those people that don't have a carport or a garage, having to find chargers and do the solar panels and then switch out their appliances because Biden wanted to ban gas appliances. Everybody said, be patient. This is for your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. It's going to cost you, but it's going to be worth it for humanity in future generations. So just, take the pinch in your pockets now. It'll be good for humanity later. Yet the tariffs happen, and nobody could wait 2 weeks. Nobody can wait the 6 months. Oh, no. What he's trying to do for our grandchildren is hurting us now. Come on, people. It's ridiculous. And one thing that I'm looking at is my interest I'm paying on my house, on my car. I have a pretty low interest rate, but still, a good amount of what I'm paying each month is just going to interest. I don't like that. I'm making the banks richer. Yeah, I told you when I was growing up, I wanted to get a credit card so I could get my own apartment. My parents did not want me to move out, and I couldn't wait to move out when I was 18. But I couldn't get an apartment if I didn't have credit. So I'm like, I need to get a credit card. And they were not happy about that. But one thing my father said, which did make sense, was if you don't have the cash to buy something and you want to use a credit card, then that means you can't afford it. If you can't afford something and you're putting it on a credit card, then you shouldn't be buying it. Now, he grew up and you don't want to be in debt. You don't want to owe. I learned that, you get points, you get a credit history, so just pay off your credit card at the end of each month so you don't have to pay the extra interest. So that's what we try to do and what a lot of people do, but most people can't because they're buying things like iPhones or whatever that they can't afford. But interest screws you. If the secret to getting ahead economy-wise is not owing and not paying interest. People ask me about these medical payment plans where they want to get LASIK or they want to get cosmetic surgery. So there are payment plans with interest that they could do. I would first say, compare that to, a car loan, compare that to another loan that you could get, because my guess is those companies charge very high interest. But the reason why is credit cards are so gosh darn expensive with their 17 to 21% interest that people are looking for other ways to do it. But if you can't afford the cosmetic surgery, if you can't afford the LASIK, and it's not medically necessary, you might want to rethink what you're borrowing. So I don't want to see any companies go under, but it doesn't pay to have expensive real estate anymore. It doesn't pay to have tons of staff. It doesn't pay to pay so much on utilities that, it's going to be more about the online world. And we are going to see more and more of these big anchor companies, electronic stores, home goods stores close, screwing over all the smaller companies that are using those anchors to attract customers. Because that's just the way prices are these days. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, guys. Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Product claims without proof.
every trucker on the road has heard product claims about an additive that simply didn't match their experience. Proof is found from third-party testing by a recognized, credible source. That's proof. Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator will improve your performance and fuel economy. For proof, we engaged the Ohio State University Center of Automotive Research to conduct an EPA-certified fuel economy test with Stiction Eliminator on a FedEx truck, a 2006 P500 Freightliner with 247,000 miles. The test showed a 3.6% increase in highway driving fuel economy from Stiction Eliminator, an oil additive. The complete report from OSU is available for download at hotshotsecret.com. That's proof.
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator, available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So do you drink a daily glass of orange juice? I don't. I don't drink a lot of orange juice because of the sugar. I'll eat an orange, but I don't drink a glass of orange juice. The reason why I don't drink a lot of orange juice, one is I don't like the pulp. I almost need it like Tang, where it's like a fruit drink. So I don't drink it. But I remember in the 80s, one of my classmates was struggling with weight. And he said his mom told him to stop drinking orange juice because there's a lot of calories in orange juice. And I was 16 years old at the time, and I was really watching my weight when I was 16. So I'm like, okay, then I'm done with orange juice. I'll just eat the oranges. Well, researchers from Brigham Young University have shown that, if you drink the sugar, and we're talking, even if it's natural orange juice, you're going to be more likely to get diabetes. Yet other sugar sources, like fruits and honey, don't necessarily raise your risk of diabetes and may actually decrease the risk. Daily Mail is reporting that Dr. Karen Delacorte, the lead author and a BYU nutritional science professor, said this is the first study to draw clear dose-response relationships between different sugar sources and type 2 diabetes. They say it highlights why drinking your sugar, whether from soda or juice, is more problematic for health than eating it. So diabetes affects close to 40 million Americans. There's even millions more with prediabetes. It happens when you don't have enough insulin or you have insulin resistance where your body can't get the sugar from your bloodstream into the cell, like from the hallway into the room. And insulin is like a key to the door. And so having high sugar can put you at risk for diabetes or not, or having genetics, or having high weight, which increases insulin resistance. So diabetes can affect your eyes, your nerves, your kidneys, your heart. But researchers looked at 29 cohort studies on the risk of developing type 2 diabetes based on dietary sugar, total sugar, free sugar, added sugar, fructose, sucrose, or 2 sugary beverage sources, non-diet sugar-sweetened beverages and fruit juice. They collected 800,000 people's data across multiple continents, including Europe, U.S., Australia, Asia, and then they analyzed it using multiple statistical models. Results showed that each additional 8-ounce serving of fruit juice per day increased the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 5%. But each additional 12-ounce serving of sugar-sweetened beverages like soda, energy drinks, sport drinks, raised the risk by 25%. Now, how much sugar does an 8-ounce glass of orange juice have? It could be about 20 grams of sugar. That's nearly the entire recommended daily amount for a woman. So according to the American Heart Association, men are supposed to consume no more than 36 grams of sugar a day or 150 calories. Women, no more than 100 calories a day of sugar or 25 grams. So your one glass of orange juice will sadly put you close to the limit. I like fruit. I eat fruit. Fruit does have sugar, and you do need to watch the amount of sugar. I remember my mom says my great-grandfather was limited to 10 grapes a day. He was not allowed to eat any more because he had diabetes. Well, they were doing the best they could at the time. But there are fruits that have a higher glycemic index and a lower glycemic index. We recommend those with diabetes eat more of the berries that are more tart, like raspberries, blueberries, boysenberries. They have less of a sugary load than cantaloupe per se, pineapple. This doesn't mean you can eat as much fruit as you want, if you have diabetes. But it does remind us that, these sugary drinks with added sugar are not healthy. Honey could be a healthier option. If you want to make something sweet, maybe add some honey to it. The more natural something is, the better it is for you, and the better your body can address it. So definitely look into that. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Daily Mail is also reporting a large dust cloud from the Saharan desert is moving across the Atlantic and is expected to hit Florida and part of the southeastern U.S. in the coming days. The dusty air may linger for days, leading to poor air quality. From the Saharan, a whole other continent. We're not talking Canadian or Central America. We're talking Africa. The dust cloud is moving to us. This could affect our breathing, especially if you have asthma, COPD, allergies. These fine particles and the particulate matter can be very hazardous. Meteorologist Matt DeVitt of Wink Weather in Fort Myers, Florida, shared a time-lapse video on Facebook Tuesday showing the Saharan dust cloud drifting near Key West, spreading into the Gulf of America. They call it Gulf of Mexico, but it's now the Gulf of America, and then looping back into South Florida by Friday. Now, as of Wednesday, this cloud is already, I guess, over the Caribbean Sea. They say the Saharan air layer contains about 50% less humidity, which can weaken tropical systems and slow down activity in affected areas. The plume can also create stunning sunrises and sunsets, adding a warm, colorful glow to the sky. Yeah, but who wants to breathe this crap? They say Saharan dust clouds like this can travel more than 5,000 miles, and they can reach the Gulf Coast in Florida. That's not that unique. It's just this is a big one. They say Saharan air layer is dry, dusty air mass that forms over the Saharan desert. It's the largest and hottest desert in the world. For those of us that live in southern Nevada, we're probably scratching our heads on that one, but yep, Sahara has us beat. They say each summer, seasonal weather patterns like the West African monsoon and high pressure systems create strong winds that sweep across Sahara. So when we get our Atlantic hurricane season, these are storms coming off of West Africa. But the winds will pick up particles, and then they end up bringing dust. They say it's the Bermuda Azores High, a high-pressure system over the Atlantic that produces steady east to west winds that carry the dust across, and then the African easterly jet also pushes the dust. You would think it would dissipate, but apparently these wind systems could concentrate them. Now, dust activity usually peaks between June and mid-August. The amount of dust varies from year to year. We spoke about dust a few years ago, but the last few years we haven't talked about Saharan dust clouds. Maybe it's because it didn't make news. It happens. But apparently this one is a large one. They say the dust will lower air quality, pose problems for people with asthma and other respiratory conditions, but the dry air and strong winds will help suppress hurricanes, making it harder for tropical storms to form and grow. So we are expecting an average hurricane season, not below average to moderately above. So we'll see what happens. I would recommend that if you do live in that area, and it is a big area engulfing the Gulf of America, you should contact your medical provider about if you are, let's say, low on your asthma medications or COPD medications. Get some air filters. Keep your windows and doors closed. Don't allow dust to come inside. Find an area, for your animal to go pee if they pee or potty outside, and then wash off the dust when they come back in. But you definitely want to keep as much of this out of your house, not to mention all the mites and other pathogens that it could carry. They say back in June 2020, there was a massive Saharan dust cloud called the Godzilla plume. It swept from West Africa across the Atlantic. It brought hazy skies from Texas to the Carolinas. So NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, calls this the largest event in nearly 50 years. 1-877-DOC-DALY.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.